They got to have fun. I was always studying. I was always by myself. And I kind of got distant from them a little bit because I had to study all the time and I had extracurriculars. I had to go do track and things like that. So I think it was very hard for my family to kind of see me struggling in school and struggling in track. But that was one of the things that like I...
ማቹ የስኬት ጉዞ ቤተሰቦች ዛሬ ጨዋታ ባትላንታ በተሰኘው ፕሮግራም ይዤላችሁ የቀረብኩት ወጣት እንግዳ ከጆርጂያ ሁለተኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ቤቶች በአንደኛነት ከመላው አሜሪካ ደግሞ በ13ኛ ደረጃ ከሚገኘው GUNET School of Mathematics, Science and Technology ባጭሩ GSMST ከሚባለው ትምህርት ቤት በ4.2 GPA እና እንዲሁም በ2025 በትራክ and ፊልድ ስቴት ደረጃ ሁለተኛ ሆና የወጣችዋን ሰሰን ማህሬን ይዤላችሁ ቀርቤያለሁ። በቅድሚያ ስለ GSMST ትምህርት ቤት በጥቂቱ ላውጋችሁ። GSMST ሙሉ በሙሉ በስቴም ላይ ያተኮረ ስርዓተ ትምህርት ያለው ሲሆን ይህም ማለት በሳይንስ፣ በቴክኖሎጂ፣ በምህንድስናና በሂሳብ ላይ ያማከለ ትምህርታዊ አቀራረቡ ከመደበኛ ስርዓተ ትምህርት የተለየ ነው። GSMST የሚገኘው በጊዩኔት አማካይ ከተማ በሎረንስቪል ነው። GSMST በልዩ ልዩ የመማሪያ ክፍሎች ይኸውም በሳይንስ ቤተ ሙከራዎች፣ በዲጂታል ሚዲያ መሳሪያዎች ለድምጽና ቪዲዮ፣ በኢንጂነሪንግ፣ በሮቦቲክስ፣ በኪነ ጥበብና በስሪ ዲዛይን በተሰሩ ትላልቅ የፕሮጀክት ቦታዎች ያሉት ሲሆን ህንጻው በዩኒቨርሲቲና በኮርፖሬት ደረጃ የመማሪያ አዳራሾች፣ የቪዲዮ ኮንፈረንስ አቅም ያለውና ብቃት ባለው ቴክኖሎጂም ጭምር የተደገፈ ነው። ቤተ መጻሕፍቱ የኢንዱስትሪ ደረጃውን የጠበቀ ሶፍትዌሮች ያሟላ፣ ቤተ ሙከራዎቹ ደግሞ 3D ዲዛይን እና አኒሜሽን፣ አፕሊኬሽን ፕሮግራሚንግ እና የሚዲያ ፕሮዳክሽን የማስተማሪያ ኮምፒውተር ያለው የተሟላና የተደራጀ ትምህርት ቤት ነው። GSMST የስቴም ሰርቲፊኬት በ2017 በሀገር አቀፍ ደረጃ የተሸለመ ሲሆን በጆርጂያ የቴክኖሎጂ ማህበር በተደጋጋሚ ዕውቅናን ያገኘ፣ በSAT፣ በACT፣ በCCRPI ውጤቶች ጆርጂያን የሚመራና በ2016 ደግሞ ብሔራዊ ብሉ ሪበን ተብሎ ተሰይሟል።
A block schedule stan. I love block schedule.
It was amazing.
I will forever
ከላይ እንደጠቀስኩ ይህ ትምህርት ቤት ካሪኩለሙ ለየት ያለ በመሆኑ ተማሪዎች እንቅልፋቸው የሃይስኩል እድሜያቸውን በጥናትና በተለያዩ ፕሮጀክቶችን በመስራት በሚያመጡት ውጤት ምክንያት በሀገር አቀፍ ሚዲያዎች ደረጃ በዩኤስ ኒውስ እና ወርልድ ሪፖርት፣ በዋሽንግተን ፖስት ተጠቅሷል። እዚህ ትምህርት ቤት ለመግባት ማንኛውም የጊዩኔት ነዋሪ በየዓመቱ የሚካሄደውን ምዝገባ በመመዝገብ ከተመዝጋቢዎች መካከል ሎተሪ የወጣላቸው ተማሪዎች ተቀባይነት አላቸው ማለት ነው። በሎተሪ ነው ትምህርት ቤት ውስጥ መግባት የሚቻለው። የዚህ ዓመት ምዝገባ ደግሞ ምናልባት ፍላጎት ያላችሁ በመስማት ከኖቬምበር 13 2025 ጀምሮ እስከ ዲሴምበር 10 2025 ድረስ ምዝገባ ይካሄዳል። እዚህ ትምህርት ቤት ልጆቻችሁን ለማስመዝገብ የምትፈልጉ ወይም ፍላጎት ያላችሁ ተማሪዎች መመዝገብ ብትፈልጉ ሊንኩን በዲስክሪፕሽን ቦክስ ውስጥ ታገኙታላችሁ። መቼ መመዝገብ እንደምትችሉ የትምህርት ቤቱንም ደግሞ ዌብሳይት እንደዚሁ አስቀምጣለሁ። አሁን ወደ ዛሬዋ እንግዳይ ሰሰን ማህሪ ልመልሳችሁ።
First of all, I would like to thank Sasan Mahari for being my guest on your Sket Guzo YouTube channel. Congratulations, Sasan, on graduating from the GUNET School of Mathematics, Science and Technology, in short GSMST, with a GPA of 4.2. Additionally, you are a state championship finishing runner in track and field in Georgia. Not only that, but you have also been selected among the 2025 high school graduates and awarded by the Eritrean American community for your achievements. በመጀመሪያ ሰሰን ማሃሪ የስኬት ጉዞ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል እንግዳ ሆና በመምጣቷ በጣም ላመሰግናት እወዳለሁ። ሰሰንን ደግሞ እንኳን ደስ ያለሽ እላታለሁ። ሰሰን ከጊዩኔት የሂሳብ ሳይንስና ቴክኖሎጂ የሁለተኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ቤት በ4.2 GPA ተመራቂ ስትሆን በጆርጂያ ደግሞ ትራክ ኤንድ ፊልድ ስቴት ቻምፒዮንሺፕ ያመቱ ምርጥ ሯጭ ስለሆነች እንዲሁም በአትላንታ የኤርትራ አሜሪካውያን ኮሚኒቲ የ2025 የሁለተኛ ደረጃ ትምህርት ቤት ተመራቂዎች መካከል በአንደኝነት በመመረጧ የስኬት ጉዞ ቤተሰብ አሁንም ሰሰንን እንኳን ደስ ያለሽ እንላታለን። መጀመርታ ንሰሰን ማሃሪ ናይ የስኬት ጉዞ ዩቲዩብ ቻናል ጋሻ ሆይና በመምጻአ ከምስግና ፈቱ እንኳን ሐጎሰቲ ሰሰን። ሰሰን ካብ ትምህርት ቤት ሂሳብ ሳይንስ ቴክኖሎጂን ጊዩኔት በ4.2 GPA ተመረቃላ። ብትራክን ፊልድን ናይስቱት ጆርጂያ ስቴት ቻምፒዮንሺፕ ዝተመርጸት ጎያይ ኮይናላ። ብተወሳኺ ኣብ አትላንታ ካብ ዝርከቡ ኤርትራውያን አሜሪካውያን ኮሚኒቲ ካብ ካልኣይ ደረጃ ካብ ሃይ ስኩል ማለት እዩ ተመረቅቲ ቀዳመይቲ ኮይና ስለ ዝተመረጸት ሰሰን ማሃሪ እንኳን ሐጎሰት። ሰሰን ማሃሪ ቀዳማይ ስለ ዝወጸት ካብ አትላንታ ኤርትራውያን ኮሚኒቲ አዋርዱን ተሸልማላ፣ ሽልማት ረክባላ። Let us start with your childhood. Sasan, where were you born and raised?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Abrahat. I was born and raised here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Sasan, you attended GSMST #1 in Georgia. Since it's a lottery school, how did you hear about it?
Yes, so in 2020, my older cousin graduated from GSMST, and it was very academically challenging for him. But I knew that it was a science school and I was willing to accept that challenge. So I applied, and by the grace of God, I got the lottery and I was able to go to that school.
Very good. Yes. So you know, you already heard the challenge, but you want to do it.
Yes.
Nice. As the name implies, GSMST focuses on science, mathematics, and technology. It's purely an academic institution. How did you adapt during your first year? And then after your first year, how was the last 3 years challenge?
Yes. So the first year was very different for me because it's different from middle school. It's a lot more academically challenging. So my first year, I was kind of on my own. I didn't socialize too much, but I kind of had to keep myself accountable. I had to study by myself and I had to stay disciplined on my own. I took classes like physics and chemistry that most first year students don't take in high school. So I had to kind of teach myself, discipline myself, and look for the resources. I had to go after school, stay with my teachers to get tutoring. Sometimes I would go before school in the mornings to get help. But I had to take advantage of the resources that I have, and I had to look for those resources by myself so that I could get the help that I needed my first year. And then the last 3 years were a lot more challenging than the first year. I feel like my first year was more bearable, but the last 3 years were a lot more challenging because I took a lot more AP classes, and a lot of classes I got to choose myself, but I chose to challenge myself. So again, it was a lot more challenging for me, but I built a good social group to help me, and I was able to depend on them to help prepare me for tests, to help study with me, and things like that. So I think building my social group and making a circle where I can depend on other people to help me study, to help keep me accountable, to help remind me when there's tests and quizzes, and help me in things that I'm not necessarily strong in school is very important for me in my last 3 years.
Wow. So did you make the social group by yourself, already it was made by someone else?
It was made by someone else. The first year I didn't have friends. So the second year I knew I was struggling too much. So I started to look for people, and there were a lot of groups already made, because first year everyone was already making their friend groups. So there was a lot of Africans at our school, Ugandans, and I have a close friend who's Ethiopian, and I kind of joined their group, and they're like my brothers and sisters now.
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice. Yeah. Academically, GSMST is very challenging and different from other high schools. Aside from academics, what other challenges did you face at the school?
Yes. So I think the biggest challenge for me and for other students is the social aspect of it. First of all, being Eritrean, there's it's an majority Asian school, so just seeing a lot of kids have these social groups very early was very hard for me, especially because it was hard for me to make friends at first. So I got to see everyone, make friends, but I was too scared to talk and too scared to meet other people. So it was kind of hard watching everyone go. And then also my middle school friends, they were all going to their other high schools. So it was hard because, when they were staying after school, going to football games or doing other extra activities, I was at home studying. So seeing other people kind of be able to enjoy themselves, but I have to study all the time. It was very tricky, but again, I had to be disciplined, and I had to be mature, and I had to understand that, after these 4 years, it was all going to be worth it. But besides that, also for me was balancing track and field was something that was very, very difficult for me. Other students don't do that, so someone can't tell me you need to do this, you need to do that. I had to keep myself accountable. I had to teach myself how to be disciplined and how to manage my time, which was something that's very difficult to understand when you're 15 years old, 16 years old. It's very hard to tell someone that's that young, you need to manage your time, you need to do this, you need to do that. So managing my time and kind of having a good social life and being well balanced was something that was difficult for me.
Nice. Let me ask you one thing. So the activities and clubs in GSMST is different from other high schools.
Yes.
Can you explain a little about it?
Yes. So the clubs at GSMST, first off, I'd say one thing that was really difficult with that was because GSMST is almost an hour from home. Staying after school and having transportation for clubs wasn't easy, but the clubs at GSMST, there's a lot more. That was kind of the sports. Other schools have sports, but instead we had clubs. So we had various kinds of science clubs. There were things like math team. I was a part of math team for a short time. Honor societies and things like that were all different things that are also offered at other high schools, but are a lot more stressed at our school. For example, getting into national honor society is a lot more difficult at our school than it is at a regular high school. There's a lot more qualifications that it takes to get into those kinds of honor societies. But yeah, overall there were some similarities, but we do stress participating in extracurriculars at GSMST and in clubs as well.
So they don't have any sports club in GSMST at all?
No.
Like what kind of club? Can you mention one or two clubs?
Yes.
Just for the audience to understand what GSMST have the activities and clubs.
Yes. So for me, I was more so a part of honor societies, and through that I was able to kind of do service at school. But I was a part of Science National Honor Society, I was a part of Rho Kappa Honor Society, I was a part of the school's National Honor Society. And so with that, I had monthly meetings. There were different service works that I had to do inside of school and outside of school. And outside of school, I was also a part of Girls Who Codes Club. And I was a student mentor for middle school girls, and I kind of taught them a little bit about computer science and how that works. At GSMST, my third year, I was also a peer mentor. So the freshman students that were at GSMST that didn't know much about it, I kind of taught them how to prepare, how to study, things to look out for. And I was kind of like an older sister, I kind of taught them how to, continue to take care of yourself, even though GSMST is very mentally taxing. Yeah. So you are doing a lot of, things in GSMST, not only studying your schoolwork. Yeah. You are track and field runner, and then also you are helping other students in GSMST. Wow, that's nice. Yeah. Okay, Sasan, the challenges are not only for you, but also for your family.
I know that many GSMST students have a lot of sleepless night. So how is it? How was it? These challenges.
Yeah. I was very close to my family growing up, so I usually spend a lot of time with them. We had a lot of fun. We, joke around together, especially during quarantine. We got very close. So when I went to GSMST, I kind of, whenever they got to have fun, I was always studying. I was always by myself. And I kind of got distant from them a little bit because I had to study all the time and I had extracurriculars. I had to go do track and things like that. So I think it was very hard for my family to kind of see me struggling in school and struggling in track. But that was one of the things that I had to do by myself. This wasn't something that they could necessarily help me endure or go through. So I think it was hard for them to kind of see me struggle. Late at night, whenever my mom was going to work, she would see me still staying up, still working all night. So that was not easy for them to see. But also with transportation, GSMST is so far away. So whenever I would stay after school, my mom would have to come. She'd have work or she'd have other things to do, but she'd have to come pick me up. And that was a struggle. My dad, whenever I had projects, he had to go out of his way to buy things for me, buy textbooks for me, buy things for me to help me be prepared for school. But as difficult as this was for me, it was also difficult for my parents and probably my siblings as well to kind of see me be distant and have to struggle by myself. It kind of changed my mood too, whenever I was struggling in school, I would be more quiet. I wouldn't, be happy all the time because I'm struggling, So it was very hard for my family to kind of see me go through that struggle, but it was also hard for them as well because it took a lot of time and a lot of money for them to kind of make sure that I was doing well.
So you mentioned about transportation related with GSMST. Can you explain that? Because you don't have regular transportation like other high schools. So can you explain a little about it?
Yes. So I rode the bus in the mornings because I have 3 siblings, so I was not able to be a car rider. But in the mornings, I'd wake up around 6 a.m. and my regular high school, which is Parkview High School, I'd have a bus that comes at around 6:30, 6:45, would pick me up from my house. And then I'd sit at Parkview for about 30 minutes. And then there's a GSMST shuttle bus that comes and picks up all of the Parkview students who also go to GSMST up. And then we'd go to GSMST and we'd be there around 7:45. And then in the afternoon, we'd have a school bus that takes us from GSMST to our middle school. So for me, that was Trickham. And it'd take us from GSMST to Trickham. So we'd be back at Trickham around 3:45. And then after that, my mom would come pick me up from Trickham and I'd be home around 4.
So one of the problem is also that one, transportation problem.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't have regular, you have to take 2 buses.
Yeah.
So you have to get up early and then you have to arrive to your regular school, and then from your regular school you have to go to GSMST. So you spend a lot of time even in the bus. Okay, so this is also another challenge in GSMST. Okay, now even though it's a very challenging school, what do you like about GSMST? We talked about the problems and challenges, and then now, what do you like about GSMST?
Yes, I really think the biggest thing that I enjoyed was the student community. Our school is everyone's very focused. We all have the same goal. We all want to go to a good college. We want to get a good degree. So being around a lot of students that are also very smart, that have their own trades that are very unique, but they all have the same goal. We all want to go to good college. So being around those kind of students it's a very academically challenging place, but it also encourages you to want to be a better student. There's not any distractions, it's very, very focused. We all have the same goal. So I think the student community was something I enjoyed the most. Whenever we have things like International Night or any kind of school festival, we all work together to make things just very beautiful. So I think the student community was something that I really enjoyed at GSMST.
So you like the environment?
Yes, the environment.
There's no any travel that's that you heard from other schools like maybe bullying or something?
No,
nothing.
Never.
Yeah,
Everyone is very sweet. Yeah.
Yes. Can you explain a little more about it, like the environment, you know?
Yeah, everyone's just it's like one of the schools where you can talk to anyone. Like, I feel like at a regular school, like, you might be a little bit nervous, but our school, there is nothing to be nervous about. Anytime you're in a group with anyone or you see anyone in the hallway, it's very easy to ask for help, to ask someone for assistance. Everyone's helping everyone, like, everyone's struggling. So end of the day, you can really depend on anyone to kind of help you or to give you assistance. Everyone's there for you. So it's one of those schools where, like, everyone is kind of, because we're all struggling, like, we can all help one another, we can all be there for each other. Everyone's also has their own kinds of strengths and weaknesses. So, you know, if I have something that I'm strong at, I can give that to someone else and they can give me something that I don't necessarily have. But everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and end of the day, we were able to help each other and share those strengths together.
So the GSMST environment is really, really good.
It's very, very good, yeah.
Other than the challenging academically. Okay, so you graduated with honors, with a GPA of 4.2, and then you are also a field and track runner. These are two significant commitments. How did you manage to overcome these challenges? What strategies helped you to succeed academically while also securing second place in track and the field in Georgia State?
Yes. So with track was something that I enjoyed. Ever since I was younger, it's something that was more fun for me. So instead of it feeling like a commitment or a job, it was something that was very fun for me. And I think that one thing that a lot of students struggle with is time management. You know, when you come home from school, you want to watch TV or you want to do something. But for me, because I had to go run track, I had to manage my time differently. I'd come home from school at like maybe 5, 6 o'clock. And then from there, I don't have much time. I have to shower, I have to eat. So I didn't have a lot of time. So instead of, you know, playing on my phone or watching TV, I had to get straight to work. So having track kind of kept me very accountable and made me a lot more disciplined. A lot of kids have extra time, they don't know what to do, you know, but because I didn't have that extra time, I kind of had to stay focused and just do my work. But in track, I had a lot of high expectations, so it was a little bit hard because, you know, other athletes, like other people on my team, you know, they'd sleep at night, didn't have a lot going on at school. But for me, I'd, you know, be very tired. Maybe I wasn't sleeping at night and I'd come to practice and again, I'm just tired. But because I was one of the best athletes on the team, I knew that my coaches had a lot of expectations for me. My parents, I had expectations for myself. I wanted to do very well in this sport. So it was something that I kind of had to just pray to God about. I had to pray to Him to just kind of help me keep going, to help me finish my workouts, to help me finish studying at night. At one point, what I would do is after school, I would come from track like 7 o'clock. I would sleep from 7 to 12. And then from like 12 a.m. to like 3 a.m. I would just study all night. And so that's something that was a little bit different that I did, but it's something that helped me, like, cause like there's no point in studying when you're tired because then you're not going to remember things. So I'd say something that works for me is if you're tired after school, if you're doing a sport or you're doing something that's very draining after school, just take a nap. Take a short nap and then go study once you're more awake. But that's something that I really struggled with, is kind of just balancing my time. I knew that I had to sleep at one point, so figuring out when I was going to sleep, figuring out when I was going to get things done was very difficult for me. But by the end of my 4 years, I think my time management really improved, and that now I'm way better at managing my time because juggling sports, juggling track, and then with all the clubs that I do at school as well, I was kind of forced to mature and forced to discipline myself and manage my time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how many days do you have to practice for your field and track?
Yes. So usually I would say 5 to 6 days a week I was practicing, maybe 2 hours a day. Yeah, just 5 days a week, 2 hours a day.
So are you doing it by yourself or you have to join some groups for the practice?
Yeah, so my first 2 years, I was running by myself. I was under Parkview Track and Field, but usually they practice like 3 o'clock. So when the other kids are practicing, I was still at school. So after school, like 4:30, I would call my coach. He would give me the workout and I would have to go do it by myself. And that was a little little bit difficult because, you know, training by yourself is not easy. You know, you don't have coach to tell you keep going, keep running. You don't have other people to run with you, other teammates. So it was something that was very, very hard for me in my first years, especially because I was a very high performing athlete, so it's hard to challenge myself. But the last 2 years at GSMST, I kind of worked around my schedule, and I was able to get out of school around 1 o'clock. So then after I got out of school earlier, I was able to go to Parkview on time, and I was able to train with my teammates.
But the first 2 years when you were 9th and 10th grade, which was difficult?
Very
time.
difficult,
okay. But after that you overcome, you know, the challenge, and then you make your time management better.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So can you explain your experience about time? You told us already, but can you explain a little bit about time management?
Yeah.
You know, how can they manage their time for the students especially in high school?
Yeah.
Especially in GSMST, you know, because they have a lot of challenge like you did. So can you explain a little about it?
Yes. So this school is very draining, of course. And so I think one thing that's very important is making sure you have enough extracurriculars. If you have too much time on your hands, maybe you don't have enough clubs, or maybe you don't have enough things that you're doing outside of school. Because I think high school is not supposed to be something where you have just time to watch TV or time to be on your phone. Because if you do, then that means that you're not maximizing your potential as a student. And then in the future, when you apply for college, you won't have enough things to put down. So I think that's very important to make sure that you have enough clubs, that you have enough things to do outside of school. Because of course GSMST gives you a lot of work to do, but also it's very easy to put that work aside and say like, oh, I want to go on my phone instead or something. So making sure that you have clubs and other things that keep you busy and keep you occupied, so that at the end of the day you can still focus on your work is very important. And again, with the transportation thing, having those clubs is difficult, but it's very necessary to being successful at GSMST. So I would say making sure that you have enough clubs, even if they're not inside of GSMST, there's things you can do outside of school, different clubs, organizations that you can join to make sure that you have those extracurriculars. But with time management, make sure that you're getting enough sleep every night. At least 5 to 6 hours is very important. And of course doing what's best for you, especially now they're allowing all kinds of students to become athletes, and I see that there's a lot of students who are choosing to do sports at the regular high school. So if you're tired after school and you know, after practice, you know, it's very tiring, very draining, just go to sleep, take a nap, go to sleep, but make sure that you wake up later and that you go and you do your work and that you get it done. But just if you have too much extra free time, that's always something you can do, you know, there's always a club you can join, honor society, something that you can do to kind of take up your time, or do a personal project. A lot of kids do personal projects. I started a personal project. I had a science fair project that I took outside of school. So make sure you can start your own personal project. If you can't go outside and do clubs, you know, there's things you can do. And so you can take that project to school, have people help you, and there's plenty of things you can do, but just make sure you don't have extra free time all the time, you know? Yeah.
So what personal project did you do?
Yes. So in 10th grade, we had a science fair project. And what I did was I kind of focused on shoe insoles. I was kind of doing a material science project where I tested balances of shoe insoles. And so I worked with my friend. We did the science fair project. It was for a class, but then we took it outside of school and we did our own independent research on that. And that was just kind of research that we did for ourselves, you know? We didn't necessarily do it for competition or something, but it was research that we did for ourselves because we wanted to go into research. And so now in the future, that's something I'm hoping to continue to pursue, is do research outside of what I'm doing for my major. Yes.
Amazing. Okay. So what advice do you have for the students in GSMST, for Eritrean, Ethiopians, and Africans overall to successfully navigating such as challenging academic environment? Already you explained some of it, but I just want you to explain more about it.
Yes. So first thing I would reiterate is make sure that you're building the social group. You have to have friends because at the end of the day, the school is not something you can do by yourself. You need other people to be there to help you. You know, after test, if someone takes a test before me or takes a test before you, they're going to tell you, make sure you know how to do this, make sure you know how to do that. So you need friends that are going to help remind you and help prepare you for things. That's very important. And then on top of that, you need to make sure that you're disciplined, that you're mature. You know, just because you see your friends going to the park or doing something after school, you don't have to go with them. You have to focus on yourself. Everyone has their own journey, their own struggles. So make sure that you're staying disciplined, that you're staying on top of your stuff because no one else is going to do that for you. End of the day, your life is up to you to navigate. So you need to make sure that you're staying accountable, that you're staying committed to your work because after the 4 years, it's all going to be worth it. You know, it's a little bit hard, especially because, you know, you're a high school, you're a teenager, you want to go with your friends, you want to go socialize. But with this school, you kind of have to be focused. If you want to get into a good college, if you want GSMST, the lessons to be worth it in the end, you have to stay committed, you have to be mature, and you have to dedicate yourself to school.
Okay. Overall for the Habesha community,
yes.
What do you advise them to work together?
Yes, I would.
And then also with other Africans work together so it can help them, you know, to achieve their academic goal.
Yes, so I depended on a lot of Africans and as well as Ethiopians as well at our school. I think something that's very useful is to join at the beginning of the year. There's a club called Black Student Union, and that's where all African students, all Habesha students, everyone from Africa and just African Americans, we all go. It's like a club, and so through that club, you can meet a lot of people in your grade that are, you know, your age. And you guys can meet each other, you know, learn more about each other, become friends. That's a very good network to have. I would say going into GSMST, you can meet a lot of people because sometimes in your class, you know, there's a lot of, you know, Asian people or American people and it's hard to be friends with them. But if you go to that club after school, you can meet other Habeshas or you can meet other African people and you can become friends with them and then you can help each other in school because you take the same classes. Maybe you're not in the same classroom, but you take the same classes. So you can help one another through that. But Black Student Union was something that was very, very important. And helpful to me in making friends my second year.
Nice. Finally, who do you like to thank for your academic success?
So first, I'd like to thank God for getting me to this point. He was there to help me in all the stressful situations that I have, all the times that I was struggling. God was always there for me. He was the first person I turned to, of course, in everything. So all glory to God. But on top of that, I'd like to thank my parents. My parents were always there to support me. They were always there to take care of me. They were first-hand witnesses of my struggles, so they were always there to kind of take care of me and help me with any little things that I was struggling with. My mom was always there transporting me back and forth between school, between Parkby, between home, and she was always there, you know, feeding me, taking care of me. When I couldn't take care of myself, my mom was always there to take care of me. So of course I'm very grateful for my mom. And my dad, of course, was always there to support me financially and emotionally through track. So I'm very grateful to both of my parents for all the time, the effort that they put forward. Even though at this point I'm, you know, 16, 17, they were still doing little things, you know, helping me, feed me, giving me lunch, making my lunch every day. Little things like that that I didn't necessarily have time for. My mom had to kind of take a step back and start doing those things for me again, seeing how much I was struggling. So I'm grateful to my parents, I'm grateful to God, and then of course I'm grateful to the friends and my extended family, of course, for always being there and just caring about me.
Very good. እንግዲህ እዚህ አጠገብ ያለችው ሄለን ጸጋይ ትባላለች። የሰሰን እናት ናት እና ሰሰን እንዳያችሁት እንግዲህ ያላትን የጂኤስኤምኤስቲ ቆይታ ገልጻልናለች። አሁን ደግሞ ሄለን ደግሞ እንዴት እንደሆነ የአራቱን አመት እንዴት እንዳሳለፉት ቻሌንጁ ምን እንደነበረ በእናትነቷ ደግሞ እሷ ምን ነበር ያደረገችላት ለሌሎች ደግሞ ወላጆች ልጆቻቸው GSMST ትምህርት ቤት ለሚሄዱ ወላጆች ደግሞ እስቲ ትንሽ ምክር እንድታካፍለን ጋብዣታለሁ። በቅድሚያ ሄለን ጸጋዬ ሰሰንን ይዛ መጣ እንግዳዬ ስለሆነች በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ሄለን በመጀመሪያ እንኳን ደስ ያለሽ ልሻለሁ። የ4 አመት ልፋት ውጤቱ በመጨረሻ በዚህ በመጠናቀቁ እንኳን ደስ ያለሽ ልሻለሁ በድጋሚ። ግን የ4 አመቱ ቆይታ ምን ይመስል ነበር ሄለን? እስኪ ልምድሽን ብታካፊኝ።
እሺ ወይዘሮ አብርሃት መጀመሪያ ለዚህ እድል ሰጠሽን በጣም አመሰግንሻለሁ። ከዚህ ቀጥዬ ደግሞ ስኬት ጉዞ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። በ4 አመት ልጄ የነበረ ከGSMST በጣም ትንሽ ከባድ ነበር። በጣም ፈታኝ ነው የነበረ። በዛም ከሩጫ ከጥናቱ የትምህርት ቤቱ በጣም ብዙ ቻሌንጅ ነበረ። በጣም ቀላል አልነበረም። ግን ትምህርት ቤቱ ለልጆቹ በጣም ይከብዳል፣ ግን በጣም ደግሞ ጥሩ ነው። በሆምወርኩ በመናምኑ ብዙ ቢዚ ነው ማረጋቸው። ሌላ ነገር አያስቡም። የእንትኑ የስኬጁል አጠቃቀሙ በተለይ ካወቁት ማለት ነው እንዴት ትምህርት ቤት ገብተው ከትምህርት ቤት ወጥተው ምን ማድረግ እንዳለባቸው ካወቁ ይከብዳል፣ ግን ይወጣሉ። በጣም እንትን አያረጋቸውም። ትንሽ ከስፖርቱ ይከብዳል መክባድ፣ ግን ለኛ ለቤተሰብ ትንሽ ከባድ ነበር። ከስራ ላይ ከልጆቹ ሌሎችም ለሁላቸው እኩል ነገር ሆምወርካቸው ምናምን ቸክ ልታረጋቸው ከባድ ነው፣ ቀላል አይደለም። ግን ከእግዚአብሔር እንትን ሆኖ ሁሉም ነገር በጥሩ ጨረሻቸው። በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ በልጄ ማለት ነው። ያን ያህል ይመስላል።
በጣም ጥሩ። እንግዲህ የ3 ልጆች እናት ነሽ። ከሰሰን ተከታዮች 2 ልጆች አሉ። ፉል ታይም ሰራተኛ ነሽ። ባለቤትሽም እንደዛው። ሰሰን ደግሞ ገልጸዋለች ትራንስፖርቱ ራሱ እንዴት አስቸጋሪ እንደሆነ፣ ማመላለስ አለ እንዳልሹ ደግሞ ትራክ እንድ ፊልድ ደግሞ በራሱ የቻለ ነው እና እንዴት ነበር የቀን ውሎሽ? እንደው እንዴት ይመስል ነበር? እንደው ለአድማጮች እንዴት እንደሆነ ልፋቱ ድካሙን እንዲረዱት እስቲ እንዴት እንደሆነ የቀን ከማመላለሱ ጋር ስትመጪ ደግሞ እሷ ደግሞ ከቤት ስትመጣ ደግሞ በጣም ደክማ ምን ብላ ስትመጣ ደግሞ እሷን ደግሞ ቴክ ኬር ማድረግ አለብሽ ከሌሎቹ ልጆችም እንደው በተለየ ሁኔታ። ምክንያቱም ስትረስድ ሆና ነው የምትመጣው፣ እረፍት አልባ ሆና ነው፣ እንቅልፍ አልባ ብዙ ሌሊቶችን እያሳለፈች ነውና እንዴት ነበረ? እንደው ትንሽ ብታብራሪው።
ያ ፉል ታይም ሰራተኛ ነኝ እና ጧት ሁሌ 2 ወይም 3 ኤኤም እነሳለሁና ከዛው ሳጥናት አድራ ማለት ነው ለሷ ትንሽ ብሬክፋስት ሰጣታለሁና ትንሽ ደግሞ ሞራሏ ከፍ አረጋታለሁ። የቀረቀን መልካም ቀን እንዲያረግላት ምናምን በሁሉ ነገር ማለት ነው ሞራሏ ከፍ እንዲል ምክር ሰጣታለሁ በየቀን ማለት ነው። ከዛ ለሌሎቹ 2 ልጆች ደግሞ የቀናቸው የሚያስፈልጋቸው ሁሉ ነገር ቴክ ኬር አርጋቸው። ከዛ ባለቤቴ ማለት ነው ደግሞ ሳላመሰግነው ሳላልፍ ደግሞ በጣም ጥሩ አባት አላቸው። በትምህርት ቤት በጣም ጎበዝ ነው። በጣም ነው የሚረዳቸው፣ ሞራል የሚሰጣቸው፣ ፋይናንሻል ምናምን የሚያግዛቸው በጣም ጥሩ አባት አላቸው። እና እሱ ደግሞ ቀጥሎ ሌሎች ልጆች ሁሉ ባስ መጥቶ ባስ ከእንትን እስከሚሉ እሱ ነው የሚሸኛቸው። ከዛ ሰሰን ከዛ ደግሞ ትምህርት ቤቷ ሄዳ በባስ ትንሽ 45 ሚኒት ይፈጃል። ትምህርት ቤቱ ቀላል አይደለም። 2 ባስ ነው የምትይዘው ከቤቷ ወደ ሃይ ስኩል፣ ሌላ ሃይ ስኩል፣ ከሌላ ሃይ ስኩል ደግሞ ሌላ ወደ GSMST የምትወስዳት ሌላ ባስ አለቻት። ከዛ ግን መመልሳት እኔ ነው ከስራ መጥቼ ከዛ ከትምህርት ቤት ወረፋን ጠብቄ እሷን ፒክ አድርጌ ወደ ቤት መጥተን ከዛ ደግሞ እንደገና ደግሞ ትራክ ፊልድ አላት። ወደ ትራክ ፊልዱ ወደ ሜዳው እንሄዳለን። እሷም አድርሼ ላይክ 2-3 አወር ፕራክቲስ አርጋ ደክማ ከዛ ደግሞ እመልሳታለሁ። ቤት ከተመለሰች በኋላ ደግሞ ለሷ የሚያስፈልጋት ምግብ ሁሉ አይነት የሚያስፈልጋት ነገር አድርግላታለሁ። የቤት ቴክ ኬር ማድረግ ለልጆች ቤት ቴክ ኬር ማድረግ የቀረ ሁሉ ለነሱ የሚያስፈልግ ደግሞ ራሴ ነው ማርጎ። ቀላል አይደለም። እናቶች ሁላችሁ ታውቃላችሁ ለልጆች እንዴት ነው። ግን ትንሽ የGSMST ግን ትንሽ ከባድ ነው። ሙሉ ቀን ነው። ከዛ ሌላ እንትን ላይ ፈለንም ማለት ነው ከልጆች ሙሉ ቀን ስለ ጥናት፣ ስለ ትምህርት ቤት፣ ስለ ሩጫው ለ4 አመት በእንደዚህ ያለፈ። ግን መጨረሻው እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን ጎበዝ ተማሪ በሩጫም ጎበዝ በትምህርት ቤትም ጎበዝ በጣም ነው ደስተኛ በልጄ በጣም ነው ደስ ያለኝ ለሌሎቹ እናቶች ፋሚሊዎች ደግሞ ልጃችሁ እዛ የሚሄድ ደግሞ ተስፋ ሳትቆርጡ ትንሽ ይከብዳል ትምህርት ቤቱ ግን ከነሱ በጣም መስራት እንዳለባችሁ ልጆቻችሁ ሞራላቸው ከፍ ማድረግ እንዳለባችሁ እና መጨረሻ ውጤቱ በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ በጣም ነው እግዚአብሔር ማመሰግነው ዲንኪያራርጌ
በጣም ነው ደስ የሚለው በእውነት ድካሙ ልፋቱ በጣም ከባድ ነው 2-3 AM ላይ ተነስተሽ ለቤተሰቡ የሚሆኑ ለልጆቹ ምን አዘጋጅተሽ እንደገና ደግሞ እሷን ትምህርት ቤት ወስደሽ ከዛ ደግሞ መልሰሽ እንደገና ወደ ትራክ ፊልድ ወስደሽ በጣም ከባድ ጊዜያትን እንዳሳለፍሽ ያው እንትን ይታወቃል ብዙ እናቶች አሜሪካ ውስጥ ያሉ አባቶችም ጭምር በጣም ከልጆቻቸው ጋር እንዲህ ተጣብቀው ጊዜ ስለሚያሳልፉ ልጆቻቸውን ሰክሰስፉል ለማድረግ የወላጆች ተሳትፎ 100% ነው ሙሉ በሙሉ ነው እንደዛ ካልሆነ ልጆቹን ሰክሰስፉል ለማድረግ ያስቸግራልና ሁላችንም በየቤታችን የምናሳልፈው ህይወት ነው በእውነት በዚህ የአሜሪካ እናቶችና አባቶች በጣም ሊመሰገኑ ይገባቸዋል ልጆቻቸውን አሜሪካ ብቻ ሳይሆን በተለይ በውጭ ሀገር የሚኖሩ ቤተሰቦች በሙሉ ይሄ ቻሌንጅ በየቤቱ ያለ ነው ምንም እርዳታ የዘመድ የቤተሰብ ወይም ቤት ውስጥ የሚረዳቸው ምን የለም ሁሉ ነገር እናት ሞግዚት በቤት ውስጥ ቀቃይ ሁሉ ነገር ሆኖ ነው እናት አባት የሚያሳልፈውና በዚህ ወላጆች በጣም ሊመሰገኑ ይገባል እኔንም ጨምሮ ማለት ነው ሄለን እንግዲህ በዚህ ሁሉ ቻሌንጅ ልጅሽ ተመርቃ በጥሩ ውጤት እንትማ መጨረሻው ደስታ ሆኗል ትምህርት ቤቱም ትራክ ኤንድ ፊልዱም ሁሉም አብሮ ተጨምሮ አስቸጋሪ ወቅት ብታሳልፉም ነገር ግን ከትምህርት ቤቱ ደግሞ ደስ የሚልሽ ነገር ምን ነበር እንኳን ልጄ እዛ ሄደችልኝ እዛ ትምህርት ቤት እንኳን ሄደችልኝ ብለሽ የምታመሰገኝበት ምን አለ ከትምህርት ቤቱ የምትወጅለት
ትምህርት ቤቱ ትንሽ እንኳን ቢከብዱ ትንሽ ከባድ ነው እረፍት የሌለው ሆምወርክ አላቸው አሳይመንቶች የተለያየ ነገሮች አላቸው ግን ለራስ አስተማሪዎቹ አንዳንዴ ደውለው ስለ ልጄን ይነግሩኛል በጣም ጎበዝ ተማሪ መሆኗ ባለስነ ስርዓት መሆኗ ምን አይነት ጠባይ እንዳላት ማለት አቃታለሁ በጣም ጥሩ ልጅ ነበረች ባለስነ ስርዓት ፈሪ እግዚአብሔር ልጅ ናት ጥሩ ልጅ ናት አቃለሁ ግን ትምህርት ቤት ሄዳ ምን አይነት ተማሪ እንደመሆኗ ግን አላቅም ነበር እዛ ትምህርት ቤት አስተማሪ ነው እዛም አባቷና እናቷ አስተማሪ ናቸው ማያቋት አስተማሪዎች ደውለው ሲነግሩኝ ግን በቃ ስለ ትምህርት ቤቷ ስለ እዛ ያመጣችው ነገር ሁሉ ነው የምታርገው እንጂ ሌላ መጥፎ ነገር እንደሌለ ጥሩ ትምህርት ቤት መሆኑ ነው የሚነግሩኝ እኔም ሳየው ትምህርት ቤቱ በጣም ጥሩ ነው ልጆች የሚያስተምራቸው ጠንካራ ተማሪዎች እንዲሆኑ እዛ ያሉ ተማሪዎች ደግሞ በሙሉ ደግሞ ስለ ትምህርት ቤት ሌላ ዓላማ ያላቸው
ስለ ትምህርታቸው ብቻ ነው ሌላ ነገር የምትፈሪው ነገር ወይም እዛ ይሄዳሉ ወይም እዚህ ያወራሉ የምትዩ ነገር የለም በጣም ጥሩ ትምህርት ቤት ነው በጣም ነው ትምህርት ቤት ማመሰግነው በጣም ነገር አታሐስቢ ልጁ በቃ እዛ ይሄድ ልጅ አስተማሪዎች ሲናገሩ ተማሪዎች በቃ በጣም ጥሩ ተማሪዎች መሆናቸውና ስለ ትምህርታቸው እንጂ ስለ ሌላ ነገር ምን አታስቢ ትምህርት ብቻ ነው እዛ ትምህርት ቤት
ያው ከዛም ጭምርም ስፖርት ስላላች ከዛ ውጭ ምንም ነገር የለና ትምህርት ቤቱ በጣም ጥሩ ትምህርት ቤት ትንሽ ከባድ ነው አይ ነው ትንሽ ይበዛል በተለይ አባት እናት የሚሰሩ ከሆኑ ልጅ ሙሉ ሌሊት ሲያጠና ነው ማድሮ ዛንዛን ነው ትንሽ ክብደቱ እንጂ ጥሩ ትምህርት ቤት ነው ለበኋላት ልጅ ጥሩ ልጅ ነው ሆኖ የሚወጣ ከዛ ሲወጣ በቃ ምንም ሐሳብ የለሽምና እግዚአብሔር መስገን
እግዚአብሔር
ጥሩ ልጅ አረጋለኝ አይ እግዚአብሔር ተመስገነ ይሁን ያ
እና ትምህርት ቤቱ እዛ የሚሄዱ ልጆች ለሌሎችም ወላጆች ቢሆኑ ልጄ ይውላል ከነማን ጋር ጓደኛ ይሆናል እንዴት ሆነ የሚል ሐሳብ አይኖርባቸውም ሐሳቡ ምንድነው እንዴት አድርጌ ልጆቼን ወይም ልጄን ልርዳ ልጆቹ እንቅልፍ አልባ ሌሊት ብዙ ጊዜ ስለሚያሳልፉ ሁሉ ጊዜ ሆምወርክ ላይ ናቸው ሁሉ ጊዜ ትምህርት ላይ ጥናት ላይ ናቸውና ያ ካልሆነ በስተቀር ሐሳቡ ልጄ ይሄዳል ከነማን ጋር ይውላል የሚል ሐሳብ የለበትም ነው በአጠቃላይ።
አው ልጆቹ አው በጣም አንዱ ካንዱ አያንሱም በቃ ጎበዝ ናቸው ስለ ትምህርት ቤት ብቻ ነው የሚያስቡት የተለያየ አገር ናቸው ከኤዥያኖች አሉ ከአፍሪካኖች ከተለያየ አገር ናቸው ግን እርስ ከበርስ በጣም ስለ ትምህርት ቤት ብቻ የሚያስቡ እንጂ ስለ ሌላ ምንም አታስቢም ከእከለ ሄደች ከእከለ እንደኛው የለም እሱ በጣም ጥሩ ልጆች የትምህርት ቤትና የመጪ ህይወታቸው በጣም ጥሩ ነገር የሚያስቡ ልጆች ናቸው ትምህርት ቤት ደግሞ በጣም ጥሩ ትምህርት ቤት ነው በጣም ጥሩ ሄለን እንግዲህ እንግዳይ ሆነሽ ስለመጣሽና ይሄንን ደግሞ ምክር ስላካፈልሽ በጣም ደስ ይለኛል በመጨረሻ ግን ትንሽ ልጠይቅሽ መፈልገው እስቲ ለጂኤስኤምኤስቲ ወላጆች እንዴት አድርገው ልጆቻቸውን እንደ በተለይ አዲስ ለሚገቡት ኦሬዲ 3ኛ 4ኛ ለምሳሌ አመት ላይ ያሉ ያውቁታል ግን ወደፊት ለማስገባት ወይም ኦሬዲ መጀመሪያ አመታቸው ላይ ምናምን ወላጅ ኮሚትመንቱንና እንዴት አድርገው ልጆቻቸውን ረድተው ሰክሰስፉል ያደርጉልን ትንሽ እንደው ምክር ቢጤ ብትሰጪልን ያው እኔ ከልጄ እንዳየሁት ማለት ነው የመጀመሪያ አመት ከሚድል ስኩል ወደ ሃይ ስኩል ስትገባ ጂኤስኤምኤስ ስትገባ ትንሽ ከባድ ነው እንደምልሽ ያው ከመጠን በላይ ሆምወርክ ከመጠን በላይ ላይ ሁሉ ነገር ጥናቱ ፕሮጀክቱ በጣም ብዙ ነው እና ልጁ መጀመሪያ ላይ በቃ ይደነግጣሉና እንደ መታመም ይሆናሉ በቃ ልወጣ ወይ ልመለስ ወይ ወደ ሌላ ሃይ ስኩል ብዙ ነገር ነው የሚሉትና ግን ካልፈለገ ካልሆነ አለመጨናነቅ ልጁን ሌላ ሃይ ስኩል ቢሄድም መጥፎ አይደለም ካልሆነ ግን ትንሽ ሞራል መጀመሪያ መስጠት ለልጁ ማገዝ ሁሉ ጊዜ ምግብ እንደሚያስፈልጋቸው ሁሉ ነገርስ ሌላ ነገር ማድረግ አይችሉም የቤት ስራ እንዲሰሩ ወይም ሌላ ጨማሪ ነገር አያርጉም እናትና አባት በደንብ ልጁን ማገልገል የሚፈልገው ሁሉ ማቴሪያል የትምህርት ምናምን በጣም ሞራል መስጠት ተስፋ አለመቁረጥ እንዲያጠና ሞራል የሚያስፈልግ ነገር ሁሉ ማለት ሁሉ ወላጅ ያረጋል ጎበዝ ነው ግን ትንሽ እዛ ትምህርት ቤት ትንሽ ለየት ስለሚለው ተጨማሪ ማለት ነው ብዙ ተጨማሪ ያስፈልጋል በጣም የወላጅ ብዙ ኮሚትመንት ያስፈልጋልና ማገዝ ሞራል መስጠት ተስፋ አለመቁረጥ ማለት ነው ከዛ ትንሽ ሲገባ ከአመት በላይ ሰከንድ ይር ልጁ ይለማመዳዋልና ስለጥናቱ ለሊት ኮምፕሊትሊ መተኛት የለምና ይለምደዋል በኔክስት ይር ግን ከዛ ራሱ ልጁ ይጠነክራልና እንዲያም አለማቋም በቃ በትጋት ከልጁ ጋር መስራት የሚፈልገው ሁሉ ማምጣት ማገዝ እረፍት የሚያስፈልገው ጊዜ እረፍት መስጠት ለልጁ ሞራል መስጠት ልጆቻቸውን ማገልገል ከዛ በኋላ ልጆቹ ምንም የሚጠበቅ ነገር የለም ልጆቹን ማገልገል ትምህርት ቤት ናት እሱ ነው ልጆቹን ማገልገል ከእግዚአብሔር እና ሞራል መስጠት ከፍ ማድረግ ከዛ በዚያው አጋጣሚ መግለጽ የምፈልገው GSMST የሚሄዱ ተማሪዎች ብዙዎቹ ባንልም ቻሌንጁን ባለመቻል ተመልሰው ወደ መደበኛ ትምህርት ቤታቸው ይመለሳሉ አንዳንዶቹ የአካዳሚክ ቻሌንጁ እየከበዳቸው ሊሆን ይችላል አንዳንዶቹ ደግሞ ይሄንን ትምህርት ቤት ሬጉላር ትምህርት ቤት የራሴን ትምህርት ቤትም በደንብ ባጠና ከዚህ ያነሰ አይሆንም በሚል የሚመለሱ አሉ ምክንያቱም ቻሌንጂንግ ስለሆነ ማለት ነው ለማንኛውም ግን ስለ GSMST ይሄን ያክል ተነጋግረናል እንግዲህ በአጠቃላይ ሁላችሁም በየትኛውም ሃይ ስኩል ቢሆን ልጆች የወላጆችን እርዳታ ምክር በጣም ያስፈልጋቸዋል ልጆቻችን እና በዚሁ ዛሬው ፕሮግራማችንን እናጠቃልላለን አሁንም በድጋሚ ሄለን ከልጅሽ ሰሰን ጋር አብራችሁ ስለመጣችሁ አመሰግናለሁኝ እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ በዚህ ፕሮግራማችን እናጠናቀቃለን እንግዲህ እንደምታዩት ይሄ በቤት ውስጥ በግቢያችን ውስጥ የተሰራ ፓርክ ነው በዚህ ፓርክ ውስጥ ነው ፕሮግራሙን የተዘጋጀው ደህና ክረሙልኝ በዚሁ አጋጣሚ ደግሞ የስኬት ጉዞ ቤተሰቦች ሰብስክራይብ አድርጉ ላይክ ኮሜንት ሼር ማድረግ አትዘንጉ እናመሰግናለን ደህና ክረሙልኝ